Welcome to Movie Top. Everyone talks about Netflix, everyone talks about HBO, but there's a platform that's been quietly sitting on hidden gems that almost nobody's watching. Apple TV Plus has a film catalog that will genuinely surprise you. Heavy dramas, sharp thrillers, and animation that will leave you speechless. Today, I'm bringing you the 10 you're absolutely missing. But before we get into it, it would mean a lot if you took a second to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for the support.
Number 10. Wolf. A man who is convinced he's a wolf. Not metaphorically. He literally believes he's a wolf trapped inside a human body. He's admitted to a clinic where other patients identify with different animals. And what starts as something deeply unsettling becomes far more complex than you expect. And here's the thing, the film never tells you you're watching sick people. It forces you to sit with the discomfort and decide for yourself what's real and what's identity. Donald Gleason delivers a performance that takes guts to watch, because there are moments where you genuinely don't know whether to laugh or go completely silent. It doesn't romanticize anything, it doesn't over-explain, and that's exactly what makes it uncomfortable in the best possible way. Look, it's not a film for everyone, but if you like stories that drag you out of your comfort zone from the very first minute, this one will stick with you long after. Disturbing and strangely fascinating.
Number 9. Causeway. A soldier returns from Afghanistan with a brain injury that changed her life forever. She comes back to New Orleans with no real idea how to fit back into the world she left behind, relearning basic things, struggling with things most people take for granted. And in that process, she connects with a mechanic carrying his own broken story. And here's the thing, this is not an inspirational recovery film with emotional music and a perfect ending. It's the opposite. It's honest, quiet, uncomfortable at times, and that's exactly what sets it apart. Jennifer Lawrence delivers the best work of her career without a single dramatic gesture, with silences that hit harder than any line of dialogue. Brian Tyree Henry matches her in every single scene. Real talk, this film doesn't try to make you feel something the easy way, and that's exactly why it ends up hitting so much harder. If you can handle the slow burn, it rewards you with something very few Hollywood films dare to do. Intimate and devastatingly real.
Number 8. Tetris. A businessman discovers the perfect game at a video game fair and decides he has to secure the worldwide rights at any cost. The problem? The game is trapped inside the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War, buried under bureaucracy, the KGB, and executives who lie in every single meeting. What follows is a corporate thriller you never imagined could be this intense, and yet it never stops. And here's the thing, the filmmakers used animated Tetris blocks as transitions between scenes, and that detail, which sounds completely absurd, actually works perfectly to capture that 80-something energy. Taron Egerton drives the whole thing with a pace that never drops across 2 full hours. The film is part espionage thriller, part real-life friendship story, part celebration of one of the most important games in history. Honestly, it's way more gripping than anyone would expect from a movie about video game licensing rights. Addictive and surprisingly electrifying from start to finish. Number 7. Flora and Son. Flora has a marriage that's falling apart and no real idea how to face it, so she finds a beat-up guitar and slowly, messily, starts writing her way through it, crossing paths with an online music teacher thousands of miles away. What begins as a simple distraction turns into something completely different, a bittersweet journey full of sharp humor, conversations that go further than you expect, and real reflections on love and time. And here's the thing, this film never goes where you think it's going. It has the vibe of a light romantic comedy, and then suddenly pulls you somewhere much deeper without you even noticing. The writing is sharp, the chemistry between the leads carries everything, and the tone just lands. I'm not gonna lie, it's a small-scale film with an enormous heart. If you want something that mixes laughs and genuine emotion without going full cheesy, this is exactly that. Clever, warm, and with an ending that lands perfectly.
Number 6. The Banker. The 1960s, the United States. Two black businessmen want to buy banks and offer loans to black families in a system that won't even let them through the front door. Their solution? Recruit a white man to be their public face while they run everything from behind the scenes. What follows is a story of ingenuity, resistance, and systemic racism the film refuses to soften by even 1 degree. And here's the thing. This is a true story. It actually happened, and the film tells it with a tension that doesn't need explosions or action to keep you completely locked in. Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson have a chemistry that carries this film with total authority. There are moments that generate a completely legitimate anger, because you know that's how things were, and some things still are. Honestly, this is one of those films that entertains, infuriates, and informs at the same time, and that is not easy to pull off. Powerful, and with a historical weight that stays with you.
Number 5. Napoleon. From military captain to Emperor of France, and Ridley Scott captures every step of it with a visual scale you rarely see in modern cinema. The battles are brutal, the historical scope is massive, and at the center of it all is a relationship with Josephine so intense and twisted it grips you just as hard as any battlefield. And here's the thing, Ridley Scott isn't making a historical salute. He's making a film about power and what it costs you personally. And Joaquin Phoenix plays it with a mix of genius and fragility that makes Napoleon feel like anything but a textbook figure. Yes, critics pushed back on some historical liberties. Yes, there are liberties. But as a cinematic experience, this one delivers on a massive scale. The cinematography is stunning, the score destroys you, and the performances kill. If you're into epics with real weight and genuine directorial ambition, this is your film. Grand, dark, and visually perfect in every single frame.
Number 4. The Tragedy of Macbeth. A warrior receives a prophecy. He will be king. His wife hears that, and within 10 seconds, she already has the plan. What follows is a spiral of murder, paranoia, and madness that never once lets up. Joel Cohen took Shakespeare's bloodiest tragedy and shot it in black and white, with an aesthetic that looks like it was pulled straight out of an expressionist nightmare. Every single frame looks like a painting. Every silence carries real weight. And here's the thing, this is not Shakespeare for students. Cohen drops you into an atmosphere so suffocating from the very first minutes that even if you know the ending, you physically cannot look away from the screen. Denzel Washington delivers one of the performances of his entire career, restrained and devastating at the same time. Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth is something you genuinely don't forget. The cinematography is on a completely different level, and the score grabs you by the throat without asking for permission. This is first-tier cinema disguised as a literary classic, no cap. Unsettling and absolutely flawless.
Number 3. Wolfwalkers. Ireland, the 17th century. A young hunter arrives with her father in a town that lives in fear of the wolves lurking in the forbidden forest. Then, she meets a wild girl who claims to belong to a tribe that transforms into wolves at night. What follows is a lyrical, hand-animated tale with a visual style unlike anything you've ever seen in Western animation. And here's the thing, underneath all that visual wonder, there's a film burning with genuine fury against colonialism, against fear of the other, against systems that destroy what they don't understand. And it tells all of that with an emotion that grabs you from the very first frame. The animation is a work of art, frame by frame. The two leads are so well built that you care deeply about them before the first act is even over. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the best animated films of the last 10 years, and most people have never even heard of it. If this list surprised you, wait until you see what this one does to you. Lyrical, brave, and visually unlike anything else.
Number 2. You might be sleeping on this one. Marty is an insecure garment business owner who falls under the total control of his therapist, a man who slowly takes over his home, his money, and his entire life over the course of decades. And when you discover how deep the manipulation goes, the film rewinds and shows you the whole game from the beginning. And here's the thing, this is not an action thriller. It's an elegant confidence play set across years in the Hamptons, where every character has an angle and the loyalties shift from episode to episode. The tone is stylized, almost modern noir, and it gets more complicated the deeper it goes. This is exactly the kind of story Netflix would never produce because it requires patience and genuinely intelligent writing. Honestly, if you're into con thrillers in the vein of Knives Out, but with a lot more darkness and psychological weight, this is your pick. Calculated, twisted, and addictive right up to the final turn.
Number 1. Finch. The sun consumed the world. Few humans remain, the surface is bathed in radiation, and an engineer named Finch lives underground with his dog. Finch knows he's dying, so he builds a humanoid robot named Jeff with one single mission: take care of the dog when he's gone. What follows is a road movie through an apocalyptic landscape where a man, a robot learning what it means to love someone, and a dog travel together toward nowhere in particular. And here's the thing, Tom Hanks makes you care about a robot in a way that is completely irrational and completely real. The film doesn't lean on explosion.
And that's the list. Apple TV Plus has spent years betting on stories that most platforms wouldn't dare touch, and it shows. This is my list, but now I want yours. Which of these have you already seen? Which one's still on your queue? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll build more videos around your recommendations. Hit that like, subscribe, and ring that bell. See you in the next one.